John Lowenstein, the $20,000 man, as we like to call him, picked up on the waivers with $20,000. Listen to the announcement.
Number 38, John Lowenstein.
Hit well. Back. Home run.
John Lowenstein touches them all. Baltimore in the bottom of the 10th inning wins it dramatically 6-3. Earl Weaver meets Lowenstein before he hits third, and then the Royal Oriole party to greet their new hero. Over 52,000 cheer John Lowenstein, who had never hit a home run down the left field line in his major league career. The Angels swallow a tough loss. The Birds emotionally high. The Angels endeavor to bounce back. The Orioles win Game 1. Today, Game 2 of the American League Championship Series in noisy Baltimore. NBC Sports presents Game 2 of the American League Championship Series. Today from Baltimore's Memorial Stadium, it's the California Angels against the Baltimore Orioles. Today's game is brought to you by New Formula Nitol. Remember, on those occasional nights when you have trouble falling asleep, there's Nitol. By Chrysler Corporation. See the mileage makers at your Dodge or Chrysler Plymouth dealers. By the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. And by Goodrich, we're the other guys, the leader in high-performance radials. Partly cloudy in the mid-70s in Baltimore, Maryland. Over 50,000 fans again cramming their way into Memorial Stadium for Game 2 of the American League Championship Series. The crowd, the Orioles, still aflush with the joy of victory last night. The dramatic pinch-hit home run by John Lowenstein, the first pinch-hit homer in American League Championship Series history. Hello, everyone. I'm Dick Enberg, and welcome to Baltimore for Game 2 of the American League Championships. John Lowenstein providing that pinch homer last night, and the Angels trying to recover from the emotional down that created. The Orioles just trying to get their feet back on the ground. Working with me, a man you enjoyed throughout the course of this NBC baseball season every Saturday, Wes Parker. And Wes, today, ironically, when Palmer and Ryan, you can't say anything but great things about their performance last night, but today we're seeing the top pitchers for both staffs.
We are, as far as percentage is concerned, one-loss percentage in ERA. It's amazing that Flanagan and Frost are actually better in that regard than Ryan and Palmer, and we saw such great pitching last night. But we may see better pitching today. There's another interesting contrast because Frost is a big city boy. He came out of Long Beach, California, which is just south of Los Angeles. He's used to the big city life, went to Stanford University, played basketball and baseball. Then you have Flanagan, Mike Flanagan, from a little suburb town in New Hampshire, grew up on a lake and traveled, didn't play baseball until later on. And here you have a country boy against a city boy, and it's just something you're not used to seeing. In fact, it wasn't until he started playing baseball that he actually did travel. So it should be a good matchup, and the Angels really need this game so much, Dick. They've got to come out of here with a split because no team has ever come back after being down 2-0.
Yeah, and the Angels are in the hole. They have to beat the man everyone's talking about winning the Cy Young Award, the winningest pitcher in the major leagues, Flanagan, who won 23. They do have a common denominator, Frost and Flanagan. If they're effective today, their off-speed pitches will have to be working for them. Nothing off speed about this gentleman, George Sparky Anderson, joining us in our NBC booth. Sparky, the emotions of the two managers now. You got Earl Weaver, a feisty, fiery guy who you saw. He just bolted out of the dugout. That was totally unlike Weaver to meet Lowenstein before he got to third. And then Jim Fregosi at 37 trying to rally his troops. Now, just give us a feeling what might have happened in the last 12, 14 hours.
Well, Dick, last night was a rough night for both managers. Let's face it, the game on the line all night from the 6th inning on, it was tension. Both managers hurt all night. They had a lot of jelly to sell. I'm sure they woke up today and they're still not sure who won. But I'll say this, Earl Weaver knows that he hasn't finished the Angels. He has to put the nail in the coffin. He has to win 2 more games. Jim Fregosi will change his tactics a little bit today. For one reason, he'll come and talk to his ball club and say, look, we've won 3 straight many times this year. Baltimore's not invincible. We can beat them. Let's go just do it and show everybody.
But the Angels have had difficulty winning in Baltimore. They're 1-6 this year. Interesting note, when the Orioles won last night, that made 6 playoff series. They've won the first game all 6 times, but only 3 of the previous 5 times did they go to the World Series. Flanagan, the left-hander for Baltimore, the right-hander Frost for the Angels. And now let's meet the rest of the starting lineups as we go to public address announcer Rex Barney.
As we prepare for the second game of the American League Championship Series, let's meet the starting members of the Western Division champion California Angels starting lineup. First, the manager of the California Angels, number 11, Jim Fregosi. Number 29 at first base, Rod Carew. Number 12 at third base, Carney Lansford. The right fielder, number 15, Dan Ford. Number 25, designated hitter, Don Baylor. Number 5, catcher, Brian Downing. Number 4, second baseman, Bobby Grich. Number 32 in left field, Bob Clark. In center field, number 3, Rick Miller. At shortstop, number 14, Jim Anderson. Warming up in the bullpen, the pitcher, number 37, Dave Frost. And here is the remainder of the Angel squad.
And as the Angel reserves take the field, it was apparent last night that they did not have the depth, the bench, that Earl Weaver possesses. In fact, as Weaver put it very redundantly but succinctly, we have deep depth. And he showed it last night, both with Lowenstein's bat and Sandhouse coming out of the pen.
For your Eastern Division champion, Baltimore Orioles.
Well, if you're with us last night, it's like a football crowd here in Baltimore.
Weaver. In center field, number 1, Al Bumbry. At shortstop, number 3, Kiko Garcia. Number 29 in right field, Ken Singleton. At first base, number 33, Eddie Murray. In left field, number 38, John Lowenstein.
Weaver knew what he was doing, putting that man in the starting lineup.
The designated hitter, number 18, Pat Kelly. Number 11 at third base, Doug DeCinces. At second base, number 25, Rich Dollar. And catching, number 24, Rick Dempsey. And warming up in the bullpen, number 46. Starting pitcher, Mike Flanagan. And here's the remainder of your Orioles squad. And now will you remain standing as Canner and Sibelman from the Har Sinai congregation in Baltimore sings our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ready now for Game 2 of the American League Championship Series. The Angels trying to battle back and even it before heading west. The Orioles trying to go ahead 2 games to none. First pitch coming up. Memorial Stadium. Around 50,000 fans. There appear to be a few seats way out in the bleachers. The Orioles about to take the field, and this is how they'll look defensively, Wes.
All right, Dick, let's look at them. Kenny Singleton will play right field again as he did last night. In center field, Al Bumbry. Over in left field, Johnny Lowenstein, who hit the game-winning home run, will start in left field, replacing Pat Kelly. Kelly will be the designated hitter. At shortstop, Kiko Garcia replaces Mark Belanger for more bat strength. Doug DeSenses will be the third baseman. Over at second, Rich Dower. And at first base, Eddie Murray. The catcher, once again, Rick Dempsey. And the pitcher, 23-game winner, Cy Young Award candidate Mike Flanagan. As I said on the pregame show, from a little town in New Hampshire, grew up on a lake, did a lot of fishing, never traveled in his life until he started playing baseball. Mike Flanagan, in his third year, throws a good, sneaky fastball, excellent curveball, and came up with a changeup this year.
Here's the record on Mike Flanagan from Manchester, New Hampshire. Drafted by the Houston Astros in '71, elected to go to college, University of Massachusetts. 3.08 ERA, most wins any pitcher in the big leagues, 23, and finishes many of the games that he starts. He'll close his own deal. Your club had to face Flanagan, Sparky Anderson. What makes him such a successful pitcher?
Well, Dick, what makes him successful is he's got great command of all his pitches. When he's ahead of you, he'll throw you a lot of fastballs. When he's behind you, you know that he can get his curve or his changeover. This is the thing that why I say he's a complete pitcher. He's not a thrower. He's a complete pitcher.
And you say sneaky fast, but that radar gun and the Orioles use measure Flanagan right around the 90-mile-an-hour mark, so he's not slow by any means.
No, when they say sneaky fast, that's an old saying. It's saying he's fast.
The hitters like to tell themselves, well, he's not that fast, just sneaky fast.
Yeah, they come back to dugout and say, well, he's sneaky fast. Well, you better tune it up a little.
Usually what that means is the pitcher has a very smooth delivery, and he's throwing the ball faster than you expect to see it.
The key that Flanagan feels that has made him a total pitcher now is the changeup, and he said it took him exactly 15 minutes to learn it from his teammate Scott McGregor.
You know, Dick, I noticed something when they were introducing the players coming out on the field today. The Angel Ball Club was very reserved and very calm when each player came out. There wasn't much handshaking. The Orioles were like a college team. I'm afraid that's the one thing I think they're awful key today, the Baltimore Club.
Is that good or bad?
That's awful good when you're playing in Baltimore with Wild Bill up there leading the cheers.
Rod Carew leads it off for the California Angels, followed by Carney Lansford, and then Dan Ford. Carew, the only man to collect 3 hits in last night's opening game.
He said last night, Dick, that Palmer did him a favor in pitching him up high. Rod says because of that bad thumb, he's having a hard time hitting the low pitch.
Acquired from the Minnesota Twins, Ken Landreau, and pitcher Paul Hartful went to Minnesota as Carew headed west. First pitch of the game. Flanagan will throw strikes. If he doesn't, you'll see someone getting warm in a hurry. Broken bat to Garcia. The barrel end of the bat almost went right to first base. Darren Johnson, the first base coach, picks it up.
He must have either gotten jammed or hit the ball on the end of the bat. Take a look here.
Carney Lansford.
Looks like he hit it right off the end and the bat just shattered. Of course, if you're a first baseman, you've got to dodge the bat and catch the ball at the same time.
And it took a tricky hop on Garcia. Did a good job to stay with it. Carney Lansford was 0 for 4 in last night's game. Full count to Lansford. Dan Ford on deck. Grounded sharply to Dower. 2 away. Now Flanagan gets Carew and Lansford on ground ball outs. Here's right fielder Dan Ford. Homered and an RBI double, his first 2 at bats last night against Palmer to give the Angels the early 2-0 lead.
It'll be interesting to see where Flanagan tries to pitch Ford because Palmer was keeping the ball away from him and Ford hit the ball well. I wouldn't be surprised to see Flanagan try to come in on him today.
Big slow curveball. Ford in conversation with plate umpire Dale Ford. The pitch was called a ball.
Well, Dick, the reason he's looking, Dempsey is talking to the umpire, and I believe he wanted the pitch.
Fouled into the glove of Dempsey, 1-1.
Ford wants to establish right away that Dempsey's not going to call this ball game.
He's getting those ribs loosened up, Dick. As you can see, he's had that injury to his rib cage, which he got just before the season ended, and he's having a little bit of trouble getting that loosened up.
He hasn't taken as much batting practice as he would like because it is bothering him. He feels he only has so many good swings. One ball, one strike, just underway in Baltimore. 2 outs, no one on. Angel first inning. 2-1. That appeared to be that changeup.
That's that changeup, and he'll throw a slow curve off it, and also the straight change.
3-1 to Ford. Major League's RBI leader, Don Baylor, waits his turn. High fastball and the count full to Dan Ford. Well, we're pleased you joined us, and if this game is like the others in the National and American League Series, we hope you have some extra beverage with it because we've been going overtime, extra innings. 3 dramatic games so far. Long drive, left field. Lowenstein, and Ford will touch them all. Dan Ford, first time up last night, homer to left center, and repeats it first at bat today.
Baltimore appears not to know how to pitch Danny Ford. 3-2 curveball, I imagine. imagine that Flanagan didn't think he would ever be looking for that. But he jumped on it. This is not a bad pitch. But the way Ford stands up there, you can't pitch him down and in. He can just drop that bat right down on it. I think you have to go up and in. I think Flanagan was hoping for the element of surprise with that curveball, and Ford was just waiting for it.
Don Baylor wore the collar last night, 0 for 4. He felt he was just too eager. He couldn't wait to get up there and swing, and went after the first pitch 3 of the 4 times. Way out of play. Baylor, a tremendous season. Teammate Dan Ford knocked in 101, but Baylor led the major leagues with 139 RBIs.
Dick, old Disco Dan is really rocking in this series.
That's his nickname, Disco Dan. High to center field. Baylor just missed that one. Bumbry has the final out. The Angels take the early lead on Dan Ford's first inning home run. The Orioles come to bat against Dave Frost, trailing 1-0.
As with last night's game, Danny Ford leads off with a home run in the first inning for the Angels, and he's playing right field again today. Rick Miller will be in center field, and the only change the Angels will make today is in left field. Bobby Clark, a rookie just called up, only with about 50 at-bats in the major leagues. He will replace Larry Harlow and start in left field. At shortstop, Jimmy Anderson. Third base, Carney Lansford. Second base, Bobby Grich. And at first, Rod Carew. The catcher, once again, Brian Downing. The pitcher today for the Angels, Dave Frost, played basketball and baseball at Stanford University. Up briefly with the White Sox in 1977. Split the season last year with the Angels in Salt Lake City. He's a strong man, a big strong man. Throws a fastball, slider, and a forkball.
Frost on the year, 16-10. Just to give you an idea how good 16 wins happened to be in 1979. The top total wins for a right-hander in the American League was 17. Several shared it, including Sparky Anderson's Jack Morris, but 17 is the most any right-hander could win this year, so Frost was right there. He was their money pitcher throughout the season. Whenever Fregosi needed a win, Frost was the man who came in and gave it to him, and such is the situation today. Now, you've gone through it many times, Sparky. Every time Frost pitched, it reminds me of a scene 2 years ago. The Angels were closing out spring training in Yuma, Arizona. Dave Garcia was the manager then, and he had to make a tough decision as to that final cut. We saw Dave Frost just as he got the news that he was being sent back to Salt Lake City because the Angels were going to take a gamble on a young player and keep someone named Carney Lansford. Lansford stayed. Frost then got his chance later, and Lansford's helped him to win some big ball games with his bat.
It sure has, Dick, but you know, it's a funny thing. When you are good, you will always make it, and Frost has proved that he was good.
Al Bumbry, 0 for 4 last night. The happy man for the Orioles. What a smile. He lights up the dugout when he shows those ivories.
Dick, he reminds me so much of Donnie Buford, who used to live or lead off for the championship Baltimore clubs in the late 60s, early 70s. Same kind of happy attitude, short guy, fast.
I'm sure Donnie's watching out in the San Fernando Valley just after lunch out there in the west. Starts with a slider. Bumbry, the 1973 American League Rookie of the Year, at 285 this year. Oh, what a stop by Lansford. They don't get him, but what a play. Lansford saved the double.
He saved a double. He's made diving stops like this all year long and thrown guys out from the ground. Now, in this case, he's got to dive so far and so much away from his throw that it's awfully tough to reverse that momentum and get back up and throw him out.
Well, Bumbry runs well, too. He might have thrown out some other men in the lineup, Sparky.
Well, Bumbry runs well, Dick, but also he's leaving the plate when he hits. He's on the move when he hits, and that's the reason Connie couldn't get him.
I've seen Carney throw a lot of guys out with that same dive many, many times, especially diving to his left.
But the Bumbry, the leadoff man, is aboard, and here's Kiko Garcia, his first at bat in the series. Hit 247 on the year. base stealer for the Orioles, so Frost keeping an eye on him. Al stole 37 this year. Next best for Baltimore was Lowenstein with 16. There he goes. Not in time as Anderson unable to get the ball down on Bunbury. Good throw by Downing.
Good throw and a great slide, Dick. Bunbury doesn't sacrifice any time at all. He goes straight into the bag. In fact, some players can hurt themselves doing this. He slides very late, but he does that to get in there quickly.
Tag was a little high, Sparky.
Well, it was a little high, Dick, but watch Downing. He's a little slow unloading the ball. He caught the ball and then straightened up and threw. He didn't go meet the ball. There's the play where Bench was so great. John would go out and get the ball on the way. He stood there and caught the ball.
And the count now goes 3-0 to Garcia. Another tying run for the Orioles at second base. Infield hit, and then Bunbury with a steal. No one out. Harry Coyle, our director, Mike Weissman, our producer. They've got cameras at every angle. And the Orioles now will bring up Ken Singleton, their top batter, with no one out and 2 men on.
29, Ken Singleton.
Dick, here's where Jimmy Fergosi's worried for one reason. He scored already in the first inning again. If Baltimore comes back right now and has a big inning on him, it's going to be real rough for the Angels.
Singleton 0 for 3 last night. Finished the season at .295, 35 homers, 111 RBIs. That's 5 in a row missed by Frost. Rick Dempsey, the catcher. Earl Weaver, the skipper, in the third base dugout of the Orioles. Infield playing for 2. There's a strike. Anderson and Gritch up the middle, squeezed toward the bag, looking for 2. Lansford well off the line at third, and Carew deep at first. Might be 2. Anderson, Gritch to Carew, double play. Pitcher's best friend checks in Baltimore for Dave Frost.
What a pitch he made, Dick. Look at the location of this pitch. It was low and outside, just inviting the double play. And the pitcher really set this up with that pitch. Now he'll run this ball down and away. You can see the catcher moving out there. That ball is almost impossible to hit in the air.
I'll tell you what, Dick, Fergosi's really breathing now a lot easier, because now it looks like they can't have that big inning on him, and he's feeling a lot better over there right now.
But a tough hombre at the plate for the Orioles. Eddie Murray walked a couple of times last night and struck out twice. Switch hitting first baseman. A baby for the Orioles at 23, but already has produced 77 homers in 3 years. Frost not afraid to come inside to the hitter. Base hit. Bunbury scores, and the game is tied at 1.
You just can't get the ball out away from Murray. If you get the ball out away where he can extend his arms, he'll hit the ball hard almost every time.
The Orioles come right back just as they did last night. And here's John Lowenstein and a standing ovation in Baltimore. That pinch hit home run, the first in American League playoff history. Frost wants a new baseball. We were talking last night, riding back to the Cross Keys Hotel in Baltimore, Wes and Sparky and I, and talking about Every man, every woman in their lifetime should have one moment like John Lowenstein enjoyed last night.
Can't buy it. No amount of money in the world will buy that. Can you imagine after 7 years in Cleveland, 1 year with Texas, and never really did anything, never was going any place with the ball club, and suddenly to come to Baltimore this year and have this happen to him?
That's a dream come true. 2-0 to Lowenstein. 3-0.
That's why I say, Dick, you hear people talk about money. You couldn't give him enough money to take that thrill away.
Just missed inside. Frost thought he had him struck out. 2 on, 2 out. The Orioles are still at it, and here comes Jim Fregosi out to talk to Frost.
I would imagine Jim just wants to settle him down a little bit here, Dick, because he's not throwing badly. He's got good velocity on the ball. It's just a matter of not getting riled up by this crowd and what's happened so far, taking a little bit more time and really concentrating on his spots.
Frost is like Flanagan. They're both control pitchers. They shouldn't walk many if they're on their game, but Frost has lost 2 already in this first inning. Murray at second. Lowenstein at first. 2 out. Tied at 1. Pat Kelly, 1 for 3 last night, the batter. Kelly's now 35 years of age. Philadelphia. Brother of the great running back Leroy Kelly. Another base hit. Murray scores. Lowenstein holds at second. 2-1 Baltimore.
You know, Dick, if Fregosi has to go to his bullpen early here, it's going to really hurt him. If Frost don't get him at least 6 innings, he's going to be in deep trouble.
Clear, rookie right-hander, is throwing in the Angel bullpen as Pat Kelly, the veteran, drives in the go-ahead run for Baltimore, bottom of the first inning.
He hit a pretty good pitch, too. I'm really impressed by Kelly, what I've seen of him. He's a smart hitter, Sparky. You know, he went right with that ball out there.
The rookie Clear, a year ago, was in Class A ball. Made the big jump and certainly won many big ball games for the Angels. Most of his efforts, good outings, were early this year. The batter is Doug DeCinces, the 7th man to come up for the Orioles in a long first inning for Dave Frost. Infield hit by Bunbury. Garcia walked. Singleton hit into the double play. Murray lined a single to center to drive in a run. Then Lowenstein walked. An RBI single. And a high fly into the crowd. And that had Sparky leaning back. You thought he had the kind of swing that might have been 3 runs.
Well, I know Doug well, and right now he's had a little trouble with his back, and the ball from the middle in and up, he cranks that ball on you, and right away when I seen the pitch, I said, uh-oh, this could be 3 quick runs.
DeCinces 1 for 3. It was his leadoff single in the bottom of the 10th last night that set the stage for Mr. Lowenstein's heroics. On the outside corner, that's where you want that crossfire. You don't want to bring that one inside.
The DeCinces might have missed his pitch because Sparky's right. The one before was the old hanging curveball, and he fouled that one back, and now Frost comes right back and crossfires him on the outside corner. He may have had his chance.
2 on, 2 out, 2 in for Baltimore. Bottom of the first. One and 2.
You know, Dick, Frost is throwing so well. This is as good a stuff as I've seen him have. We faced him twice this year. His ball is so alive today.
It is. He's throwing hard, Sparky. When he gets more up on top, the fastball straightens out, but when he throws more from the side, it'll run away or into a right-handed hitter.
Looper, base hit. Lowenstein scores. Throw gets away. Now the Angels throwing it around the park. It's 4-1 Baltimore. Oh my. Lowenstein scores on the looping single by DeCinces. The fourth comes in on the first error of the game. I presume it'll go to Dan Ford in right field.
It's almost hard to explain because Frost is throwing well. He jams DeCinces, who loops the ball into right. And now this throw right here is way offline. You see, Carney Lansford had to leave the bag to get it. The shortstop was in for a play at the plate. There was simply no cutoff man there, and that allowed another run to score.
They've not posted an error against Ford, but one should go up on the board on that play. It's 4-1 Baltimore. Dower to Lansford, and a long inning comes to an end for the Angels, but the Oriole fans are on their feet to celebrate. 4 runs, 4 hits, 1 error, 1 left. 4-1 Baltimore. Baltimore 4, California 1. Top of the second inning. Brian Downing, Bob Gritch, and Bob Clark for the Angels. And now all they have to do is come from 3 down against the top winner in baseball, Mike Flanagan. Downing 0 for 4 last night. Top Angel hitter against lefties this year, .386. Broken bat ground ball to Garcia. 1 away. Flanagan right in on the knuckles of Downing.
Batting sixth, the second baseman, number 4,
Bobby Gritch, 1 for 3, an RBI double last night. Appears that Flanagan, with a 3-run lead, has just moved that fastball up about 4 miles an hour.
You're not kidding, Dick. He knows now he's got 3 runs to work with. He's going to challenge it.
Deep drive, but foul into the facing of the third deck down the right field line.
You know, when Bobby Gritch goes to right field, he gets the best extension of his arms. He's really solid going out that way, and he has hit, I believe, most of his home runs to right field this year.
He has. Of his 30, 2/3 of them were to the opposite field. Right at Garcia. 2 away.
You know, Dick, we talk how good Belanger and Conception and people like that are. There's no question about it. But the one thing I don't want people to get misled. This kid Garcia is an outstanding fielder. We're just talking about Belanger and Conception because they're in a class of their own. But this young man is an outstanding fielder.
Bobby Clark, his first appearance in the series. The Angels in 1975 signed 3 men who are in the lineup today. Clark is one. Jimmy Anderson, the shortstop, another, and Carney Lansford. They all broke in as rookies together. Clark, not very tall, but well built. He's extremely strong for his size. First appearance against Flanagan, who has his first strikeout. 1, 2, 3, the Angels go. Middle of the second in Baltimore, where the Orioles lead the Angels 4-1. Last of the second, Memorial Stadium, Baltimore, where the Orioles lead 4-1. Rick Dempsey starts the inning. Excuse me, roller to Carew. And there's 1 away, and that's the kind of play that takes the hitter back to the dugout, and he wants to take it out on the water cooler. You don't even get a good swing.
You know, Dick, I like something Brian Downing did last inning. After that base hit by the census to right field and the ball being thrown all over, he looked right over the dugout and he told Fregosi, he's all right, he's all right. You know, that's so helpful when the catcher can tell you. That way, you can rely on your man. You know that he knows what kind of stuff the pitcher has.
Wears glasses while he's playing, even with that mask. Al Bunbury. His infield hit started the go-round for the Orioles in the first inning. Fragosi's attitude all along: we'd like to split in Baltimore. If we don't, we've swept them before. Bunbury walks, the third walk from Frost, and that just isn't the way Dave Frost pitches when he's on his game. One out, and Garcia, who walked his first at bat, comes up.
Bunbury makes such a difference to this ball club. Last year he broke his ankle and was out almost the entire season, only stole 5 bases. This year he bounces back to steal 37, and he gets that whole offense moving. He's your typical good leadoff man that every ball club has to have to get that offense started.
Jim Fry, first base coach, helping Bunbury with his lead.
I have a strong feeling, Dick, that Bunbury's going to be running here. They're going to try to move this game early.
That's just a token toss by Frost. Calling for a pitch out, and he got a high slider.
Downing was calling for a pitch out, and the thing that's so great about that, that's what Joe Morgan used to do. Al was going, and he sensed it right away, and Morgan could do that better than any man I ever seen.
They put on the brakes and stayed close. 2-1 now. Now you figure the Angels won't pitch out 2-1, so let's see if Bunbury's out of his blocks. Yes. Tip. Downing did something clever. After he realized that he wasn't going to be able to throw out Bunbury, he kind of let the ball work in his glove and drop it, hoping the umpire called out a foul tip and forced Bunbury back to first base. That's quick thinking.
I think he did foul tip the ball, which means that Downing then has a hard time getting a good grasp of it. He just can't pull that ball out of his glove, so you're right. He drops it hoping for a foul tip call.
Instead, it's 2-2, and Bunbury has his second steal. 3-2.
You know, Dick, I wish they would have called it a foul tip, because I'd love to see Earl come out on that one. Oh, he would have given him everything he had.
Might have taken a team of horses to drag him away. 3-2, 1 out, Bunbury at second. Here comes Bunbury to score. It's 5-1 Baltimore, and everything's going the Orioles' way. They'll call it a base hit.
That looks like it's going to be all for Dave Frost as Jim Fragosi comes out of the dugout. You really have to give the Orioles hitters credit. They've all been going to the opposite field with the pitches. Nobody's trying to pull the ball. Frost with good stuff. They're all waiting back on him, just trying to drive that ball either up the middle or to the opposite field. That's just what Garcia does here. Nobody's over swinging on that Baltimore club, and everything they hit seems to find a hole.
That's a play that Grich normally makes, but nevertheless the official scorer sees it as a hit, and it's 5-1 Baltimore. Jim Fragosi forced to go to a thin bullpen early in Baltimore. A break in the action, bottom of the second. Baltimore leads the Angels 5-1. Baltimore leads the Angels 5-1. Relief pitcher Mark Clear warming up, bottom of the second inning. Let's first pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network. Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, where the partisan crowd of over 50,000 fans cheered the Orioles into a big early lead. Bottom of the second, 5-1 as Mark Clear takes over for starter Dave Frost.
This is WBAL-TV, Baltimore 11.
Ken Singleton, the hitter. 1 out. Kiko Garcia at first base. He goes, and it's fouled out of play. So Weaver wasting no time getting that runner in motion.
Well, Dick, it makes it awful tough on Downing here. If you watch Clear, he's real slow coming up. He's got a real big leg kick, and we ran on him all the time. And right away, I thought that Earl's going to be sending his people. You can't have a leg kick this high. Your catcher's just dead.
1-2. Big kid, 6'4" and 200 pounds, just 23. Lives in Covina, California. Neighbor of Rich Dower in that community. 1-2.
Sparky, you're really right about being able to steal on him. I can see it even when he comes into his stretch. He's got that left shoulder pointed way open, and he has to close it back over before he can even deliver the ball.
So as soon as that left shoulder moves in, you can run.
The runner can key right off that left shoulder, the lead shoulder.
Ken Singleton joins the hit parade. Garcia to third. Runners at the corners for Baltimore.
You can almost start to appreciate now the kind of ball game that Nolan Ryan pitched last night. He held down a good hitting ball club.
Well, they're a good hitting club, Wes, but if you notice there, like 1 out, that was a hard hit ball to right field, but Earl's club is going to make you throw him out as long as he's ahead of you in the ball game. And that's the way you play this game.
Garcia, no hesitation. As soon as that ball was hit, he was going to go to third base. Eddie Murray lined a single to center to drive in a run in the first inning. That tied the game. Angels' short live lead provided by Dan Ford, solo home run in the top of the first. It's 5-1, and the Orioles looking for more. There it goes. Way back. Murray. Home run. Up a single and a long home run. Batter is Lowenstein. Lowenstein walked and scored in the first inning. Well, the Orioles have thrown up a 4 in the first and posted another 4 in the second to lead 8-1.
Dick, you think that Baltimore club don't feel good right now with Flanagan out there in a 7-run lead?
They have the Angels in a vice. It should be reported, however, even though that lead seems insurmountable, that the Angels are the top scoring team in all of baseball. But they're going to have to do it against a man that doesn't give up many runs normally. Good pitch by Clear. That's the second out of the inning.
You know, Dick, I agree with you. They're the top scoring club in baseball, but Earl Weaver knows, too, that he's got Stewart and Stanhouse and Tippy Martinez and Stoddard, and Earl will never allow even Flanagan to get in a position where they have a big inning off them.
A solemn first base dugout. Kelly lined a single to left center to drive a first inning run. Shortly before midnight last night when Lowenstein hit the home run, but the celebration continues today.
The Angels are really going to have to hang in there. At this point, it is so easy to become discouraged, Dick, and you've got to fight that instinct. You have to just keep battling out there. Who knows, when they go home and play tomorrow with a different crowd, it can turn around for them.
He got him. So Clear strikes out Lowenstein and then Kelly. The inning is over. The cap on a 4-run Baltimore second, and after 2, it's the Orioles 8, the Angels 1.
First pitch to Murray. High fly ball to right field. That one might be out of here. Home run, Eddie Murray.
Top of the third inning at Baltimore. The Orioles lead the Angels 8-1. Eddie Murray, first baseman, up twice in 2 innings, has a single and a home run and 4 RBIs. Rick Miller, Jim Anderson, then the top of the order, Rod Carew in the top of the third. Miller 1 for 5 last night. And with that hit, now has hit safely in the last 12 games. Weak ground ball to Garcia. One away. 3 of the last 4 outs to the shortstop. This telecast, presented by authority of Major League Baseball, intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. Jim Anderson hit well against the Orioles this year, and the season finished at .248 overall. Another chance for Garcia. Kiko Garcia just playing pepper out there at shortstop.
You know, Dick, it's really got to be tough when you have a guy like Blanger who can pick up everything, and then you have to play a poor guy like Garcia, and he just picks up everything.
He's already been involved in 5 assists in the first turn of the order. Carew, he started it by grounding to Garcia. Another ground ball and another out. 3 ground ball outs. The Angels in order in the third after 2.5. Memorial Stadium in Baltimore cheering an 8-1 Oriole lead.
O-R-I-O-L-E-S Orioles.
Well, everybody's heard about the bird.
It's been a great spring for baseball in Baltimore. A first-place team playing thrilling baseball, and Wild Bill turning what used to be the quietest ballpark in the majors into the noisiest. And know what? The players love it. Elrod Hendricks, a catcher with the O's through their championship years, and now a bullpen coach, has seen the transformation.
Well, let me put it this way. I wish there were another 10,000 Wild Bill up in the stands. He really gets your adrenaline flowing. And the guys, I don't know, from time to time you look in the dugout, you see the guys when we're down a run or two, we'll look up there to him and give him some of his same signs and get him going again. And then he directed directly to the guys in the dugout. But I think that he has been good for baseball, and he's a true baseball fan. He follows us sometimes to Detroit, Cleveland, and even to New York. Last year, he almost got in trouble over in New York following us. Well, he went up there with some of the guys, went up there and started the O-R-I-O-L-E-S, and the Yankees, and the Yankee fan didn't take too good to that.
There's a hero, Wild Bill Hagee. He's the leader of that section 34 cheering section up in the right field corner that spells out the Orioles. Well, there isn't a cheerleader on any major college or university campus who wouldn't like to have his power over the fans. He can get 50,000 spelling out Orioles. Wild Bill Hagee. 8-1 Baltimore. Last of the third, clear to DeCinces. DeCinces looped a single to right his first time up. Rocking chair at the moment with that 8-1 lead.
Dick Earl's going to do one thing right now, and he's already warned his club about it. It's 8-1, and he's not going to do anything to show them Angels up in any way. He doesn't want to wake anybody up right here.
Explain what you mean for the fans so they can fully understand what you mean, wake them up.
Well, you know, you got them beat 8-1. You got Flanagan out there. They have to be down. There's no question about it. But now if you start stealing or hit and run or hitting 3-0, you're going to wake them up. You're going to get them angry. And come tomorrow, look out.
DeCinces, check swing, foul ball, and the count remains 3-2. And DeCinces walks. Walk man on for Baltimore. Rich Dower comes up.
Second baseman, Rich Dower.
What's a man thinking now when he's down 8-1 and there's only one game left if he loses this one?
Well, he's thinking, you know, we've got to regroup our forces, no question about it. He's really hoping that Baltimore would do something right now in a way to try to show his club up.
They need a shot in the arm, Sparky. There's no doubt about that. I think where they're going to get it probably is when they get back to Anaheim tomorrow and have those fans come out and start going crazy.
Oh, and they will. Runner goes. Pop foul back of the plate. Well, Sparky, he had him hit and running there. Now that's...
I'm a little afraid there, Dick. I'll be very honest with you. There's some people in that dugout right now, the Angel dugout, that are doing some screaming very quietly, but they're doing some screaming. Don't think they're not.
So the hit and run was on in an 8-1 ball game.
And I'll be honest, Dick, I don't think there was nothing on. I think that definitely Doug missed a sign somewhere because there's no way that they were running.
Rick Dempsey. He grounded to first his first time up on a check swing.
You got to remember, too, though, Sparky, it's only the bottom of the third inning. And the Angels have some guys who can hit the ball out of the park. I mean, they can score runs.
Right. Nicky Shishido, the equipment manager, and Larry Sherry, the pitching coach, flanking Fregosi. Lined on a soft line to left. Clark makes the catch. Now there's a base hit in Anaheim because the left field is deeper. Of course, the reward in Baltimore is you don't have to hit it too far for a home run to left.
Looked like he hit this ball off the end of the bat, and that's a tough play for an outfielder because you can't tell right away just how hard the ball is hit. It looks like a shot. Then you have to adjust when you see that it's not hit that well. Sometimes you can get tipped off by the sound of the bat contacting the ball. Clark makes a nice play.
He's a good young outfielder. 2 out to Bunbury. On twice, he scored twice. Infield hit and a walk. Ball 1.
Dick, here's where I like to try a little trick. You're losing 8-1, and, you know, you're in trouble with a guy like Brian. I like to take my first base and stick him all the way back to grass and say, run now, run.
So you'd even coax the opposing dugout to maybe try to get you upset.
I just want to show my club when they come in and say, now, you're going to take this kind of stuff. I just like to move him right back there.
Third goes to Sensei as Al Bunbury on 3 straight times in 3 innings. Hard to do better than that. First and third with 2 out, and Garcia the batter. Downing and clear with a conversation.
Shortstop, Kiko Garcia.
Garcia walked in the first, singled in a run, and scored himself in the second. Ball 1.
Here's another guy, too, who knows how to win, Dick. He played on 4 first-place teams in his first 6 minor league seasons. And you see that all through the Baltimore system. Guys who really know how to win.
High hop, and that'll go into center field for a base hit. 9-1 as the Sensei scores. Bunbury to third. Garcia has his second RBI. That's like hitting a rock off the water, the way that skipped out into center.
Well, this can so often happen when you start to get behind and it just kind of builds up momentum on you. That ball hits the mound and just shoots up over Gritch's head. I think it would have been through anyway. The Angels have really got to fight to keep their composure right now.
9-1. Ken Singleton, double play and a single. High fly to left. Bobby Clark, and the inning is over. 1 run, 2 hits, 2 left for Baltimore. 3 complete at Memorial Stadium. 9-1 Orioles, and we'll be back after these messages from your local station. come up down 9-1, top of the 4th inning. The only hit allowed by Mike Flanagan, a home run by Dan Ford. Ford will bat second after Lansford. Baylor in the hole. Ball 1. Lansford grounded to second his first time up. Another ground ball, another glove. 1 away. DeCinces throws out Lansford.
It's a good play. Maybe not a great play, but a good solid play by a third baseman moving to his left, and he gets down on this ball. Remember last night he had trouble bending down. Maybe he's got that back a little looser.
Right fielder.
You know, it's a funny thing, Dick, about their infielders. You notice they're all low to the ground. All their infielders are down, their head's right on the ball. They're never bobbing that head up in the air. They stay right and play the game the way it's supposed to be in the dirt.
DeCinces, Garcia or Belanger at short, Dower at second, Murray at first. Outstanding defense behind great pitching. Dan Ford up the middle, and it's Garcia's turn. 2 away. Last night we asked Ken Singleton, the man he would vote for other than an Oriole for MVP, he said Don Baylor. We then went to the Angels. Baylor, who's his MVP?
Well, there's about 5 guys in that category, but I think I would have to consider myself as one of the prime candidates for it.
Or if you couldn't vote for an Angel, who would you vote for?
I'd probably vote for George Brett because he had 85, 86 out of 200 and had a very consistent year.
How about Ken Singleton? Is he one of the 5?
He's one of the 5, along with Rice and Lynn.
Now Don Baylor sizing up the balloting that has already taken place but not announced as yet. The 36 home runs, 1 short of the all-time Angel record. Leon Wagner and Bobby Bonds hit 37.
I was so glad, Dick, to see Baylor have the kind of year he had this year. Last year he hit the ball so hard, had 99 RBIs. He wanted 100 so badly and just missed. But he's deserved it. He's a good ball player.
Another ground ball to Garcia. 1, 2, 3, and Flanagan mowing him down. That's 10 in a row for the left-hander of the Orioles. Middle of the 4th, Baltimore 9, Angels 1. Pat Satterone did a great job getting this field ready after rain in a football game. Pat has other pursuits. During the course of the year, he's got his own tomato patch right out there in the left field corner. End of the season, obviously, but you get here in July and August and a lot of big red ripe tomatoes. So what do they call those, beef eaters? Or
you got me, Dick. I'm a city boy.
They have that tradition up in Minnesota in the Twin Cities. The Robertson clan, they grow the tomatoes, have a contest. Eddie Murray, 4 RBIs and 2 swings, but pops this one to Jim Anderson. 1 away. John Lowenstein. Certainly this series in future years will be remembered as that playoff where Lowenstein came off the bench to pinch hit a game-winning 3-run homer. Ooh, good rip. I gotta tell you something about Lowenstein. He's really a character, and when he was in Cleveland, he formed what he called the Apathy Club. The Apathy Club, and he said it was for disinterest and non-concern of whether performance was positive or negative. Just be apathetic, don't care about anything. And I said, well, how many members did you have? He said, oh, a couple million. I said, well, you still mean? He said, of course not. We're apathetic. We don't care. He's a beauty.
Well, they picked up some interest this year in Cleveland. I think they had one of their better years.
They did indeed. So Lowenstein strikes out. 2 gone. That is Clear's 3rd K. And with 2 out, Pat Kelly steps up. Now, Dave Garcia did a fine job and was rewarded with a new contract. And I know I've been studying very hard, as you gentlemen can attest, all my books on baseball because of the whole new development in San Diego. There's a chance for all of us. And we wish Jerry Coleman well, but we still can't understand how he ever said yes.
Well,
why would he want to do that to himself?
That is amazing. I can't wait to talk to Jerry about that one.
He's such a nice man. They must have gotten him in a weak moment.
He even said himself, Dick, at least I read in the newspapers, that when they came to me, he said, I was shocked that they would offer me the job. And Dave Winfield, when he went in to meet the new manager, he shook hands with the wrong man. That's how surprised he was.
Kelly flies at the left center. Rick Miller puts it away, and for the first time today, the Orioles are out 1-2-3. After 4, it's 9-1 Baltimore. Coming up for the Angels in the 5th inning, Brian Downing, Bob Gritch, and Bobby Clark. Sparky Anderson, Dick Henberg in Baltimore, 9-1 Orioles. Now let me get it straight. This is we bunt, hit and run to the face. I want to get all this down now.
Right now, Dick, I got to give you the signs so you'll have them, so you and Jerry will be together.
It can't be that tough managing, huh? Is this tougher?
You know what the easiest thing about managing is? Let's face it, get the best talent and let them play. Don't be no genius. You know, Dick Bench used to say to me, I'd cross my legs, and he said, keep them out of the aisle. He said, if you hurt one of us, we're in trouble. Just stay back out of the way, and we'll take care of everything. He was right.
I loved his line, Wes Parker. Don't be no genius. That says it all. Little fly ball to left field. Lowenstein with a beat on it, and there's one away. 11 in a row, retired by Mike Flanagan. Bill Rigney, who was the Angels' first manager, and the Angels, by the way, 19 years ago, the very first game they ever played in the American League was right here in this ballpark, and Ted Kluszewski hit a couple of home runs, and the Angels beat Baltimore. Everyone forgets. I think they then lost the next 10 in a row, but the owner, Gene Autry, still calls that his biggest thrill in baseball. Bill Rigney was the manager, and Bill Rigney, when he talked with Jim Fregosi, when Fregosi got the job, said, I'll only give you one piece of advice. Just know what your players can't do. Don't ask them to do something they can't do. High fly, Bumbury, fairly deep center, 2 away. Could you expand on that, Sparky?
Well, what he's really telling, and Bill knows, if a player can't do something and you're going to force him to do it, all you're going to do is hurt yourself. In other words, you have a man like Lee May up, a man on second, nobody out. Lee May trying to go to right field will have 2 foul balls up in the stands. Now he's setting 0-2. So a fellow like Lee May, your big, strong people like Johnny Bench, Willie Stargell, people like that, you let them just swing away natural. I always say this, the little men take, the big men hack.
The little men take, the big men hack. Well, you're going to see some big men tomorrow here on NBC as the National League Series resumes. Three Rivers Stadium, the Pirates have a 2-0 lead over Cincinnati. That'll be at 3 o'clock Eastern time, followed by Game 3 of the American League Championship from Anaheim tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern time. Boy, Flanagan has 2 strikeouts, getting Clark both times easily. He has retired 13 in a row. Halfway mark of this one. Coming up for the Orioles, DeCinces, Dower, and Dempsey in the 5th. Last of the 5th inning. The Orioles, with a combination of outstanding pitching from Mike Flanagan, their Cy Young candidate, and 9 runs on 9 hits, lead the Angels 9-1. Out of play. What is the toughest part of managing as you look over your career, Sparky? What consistently is the biggest problem that a manager faces? Is it discipline? Is it handling pitchers?
Well, Dick, I'll be truthful. I think the biggest problem is your pitchers. I think there's where you just can't make mistakes in your pitching staff. As long as you don't make mistakes there, and you've got a good ball club on the field, leave them alone, basically. Let them swing the bat. Let them do their thing, as the young kid said. You know, let us do our thing. Well, in baseball, I think Wes was saying the same thing. Let them do their thing. But your pitching staff, you must know where you're at all times with them, and know the other team's personnel. Know them as well when you're playing them as you know your own.
Clear now has retired 5 in a row, getting DeCinces on that ground ball to short. Dower 0 for 2. you think about it, but I'd like to ask you who you think is the best manager in that regard, handling his pitchers and knowing the other team. Not necessarily active today, but going back to your youth or your playing days.
Well, you know, let's face it, there's a lot of good ones, but this guy here at Baltimore, you have to look at his minor league record. To me, the minor league record, Dick, means so much more than the major league record. Major league record, the best team and the best players overall are eventually going to win it. But your minor league record, Earl Weaver's, is unbelievable. It's just, it's almost incredible to think a man could manage a different team, a different classification each year, and have the records which he has. It's just unreal.
Everywhere Weaver took his leadership, his teams won. Whether it be in Knoxville or Fitzgerald, Dublin, Aberdeen, Fox Cities, Elmira, or Rochester on his way to Baltimore.
It's an old story. I think when his daddy sent him away from home, he said, son, go out and win, because that's all Earl knows what to do, and he's just done it year after year after year.
2-1 pitch. On the corner, 2-2 to Dempsey. 2 out. Clear has settled down, retiring the last 6 men that he has faced. We're in the last of the 5th inning in Baltimore. Even the noisy Oriole crowd has settled back with a 9-1 cushion. Soft liner to Anderson, and the inning is over. 1-2-3, the Orioles for the 2nd straight inning. The Angels come up in the 6th inning, trailing 9-1, and they'll be batting Rick Miller, Jim Anderson, and the leadoff man, Rod Carew. Leads off for the Angels. Rick Miller is the brother-in-law of Carlton Fisk, or is it the other way around?
No, he's my brother-in-law. This time. I'm in the playoffs and he's sitting home this time, so you know, it's got to go the other way. I'm the famous person now.
Rick Miller marrying Carlton Fisk's sister. I imagine there's some interesting discussions during the winter months between those two families. Miller 0 for 2 today. And when Lowenstein squeezes it, it'll be 0 for 3. Mr. Mike Flanagan, ladies and gentlemen, had just retired his 14th straight batter. The only man to get a base hit, Ford's home run. That was on a 3-2 fastball in the 1st inning. And since then, nothing but outs, and they have been soft outs. No one's hit the ball hard on him.
Shortstop.
Anderson grounded to short. His only time up. Hop up. Garcia at short. And there's 2 gone. Boy, this is a surgical presentation by Flanagan.
Well, people have got to be wondering why this guy didn't win 20 games last year. Well, he would have. He had 19 wins, and then he had an injury to his left ankle, which prevented him from really pitching effectively the whole second half of the year, where he probably would have won 23, 24 games.
Line down the left field line. Fair ball into the tomato patch for a double.
You know, somebody ought to take McGregor out and give him a good old-fashioned licking for teaching this man the changeup with all the good stuff he has to have a changeup to it.
Really hasn't had to use it in this game, but you can imagine how much tougher he must be when you have to worry about that pitch as well.
Well, that was a good performance by Carew. He hit the chalk line. He just went right out there with that ball.
2-out double by Carew, his 4th hit in the series. Lansford fouls it away. He's grounded out twice.
You know, it's hard to hit 2, Dick, when you see your teammates going down 1-2-3, 1-2-3 every inning, and then you walk up there. It's tough to be different to walk up there and stroke a base hit. You'll see Carney Lansford open and close that top hand to try and keep it loose. Most hitters don't like to grip the bat too tightly with that top hand, and Carney does that to remind himself not to grip it tightly.
Out of play. Two and 2. From the left field corner. You see a different game. One of the charms of baseball, you ever have the luxury of wandering around a stadium. Inside 3 and 2. is that as you move around, the game becomes almost a different visual experience. It's a different game from out in that left field corner than it is behind home plate or low in a box seat. Or now and then I'll wander out when I've been broadcasting a couple innings, just take a walk. That's going to fall for a base hit, and Carew will score. Lansford's first hit makes it 9-2 Baltimore. Not much to cheer about in the Angel dugout. They need a lot more. But Carew has checked in on Lansford's 2-out single, and that'll bring up Danny Ford. Ford, 2 home runs and an RBI double in his 6 at-bats in this series. Everyone has their superstitions. One of Ford's will walk all the way around that outer circle around home plate, then come in on the third base side before entering the batter's box. Did you have any superstitions?
I really didn't, Dick. I just didn't like to step on the foul lines going on and off the field, but other than that, I don't think so.
I guess that's about the most common superstition. Drilled foul down the right field line.
I think the one thing every hitter will do, and it's not superstitious, but your good hitters, when they walk into the box, they'll always set up the same way. It's just like Jack Nicklaus before he's going to hit a shot. He'll go through the same routine every time. Well, a good hitter will do the same thing. Ford more or less does that. You see him standing there now. He'll reach in with that right foot, plant that first, then settle into his stance, take a couple of little twirls with the bat, and check out the pitcher.
Check swing. Tough play for DeCinces, but he gets him. 1 run, 2 hits, and 1 left. Middle of the 6th in Baltimore. The Orioles still lead by 7. Stretch half of the 7th in Baltimore. They play John Denver's Country Boy. They don't play some of the more traditional take me out of the ball game numbers. The Orioles are happy. Even Wild Bill Aggie up there in right field. He's been quiet. We've been hoping to get him on one of his Orioles spellouts. I think old Wild Bill's into the bird seed today. I don't know.
They've really got the crowd turned on here. What they did was they went to a different radio station this year, Dick. It's a younger station. It appeals to younger people. They play more like disco music. And so they've got a younger crowd out here, consequently. They've really turned on to this ball club.
Lowenstein can't find the breaking ball as he leads off the Orioles 7th inning. Walked and scored in the first, struck out the last 2 times.
I think the turning point as far as the crowd reaction to the Orioles, even though they were leading most of the year, occurred against Sparky Anderson's Detroit Tigers when they came from behind and beat Detroit 3 straight games in the last inning.
Rod Carew can handle that position at first base very smoothly, as does Eddie Murray. Takes care of Lowenstein's well-hit 1-hopper.
It's a nice play, Dick. Lowenstein hits the ball hard with topspin, and Carew made a good quick step the first time, getting off the mark. That's what's important there, and he was ready for it. He just made a super play. Good move.
Designated hitter.
That replay showed that quick crossover step, and he's almost moving as the ball is hit.
You know, he would almost trade one of his bats for a batting title for a Gold Glove. He really wants one badly. He wants to be recognized as a complete ball player and a good fielder.
He's deceptive in the ground that he covers because he is so smooth in his actions, and Murray's the same. Pat Kelly has the count 2-0. He has an RBI single, struck out and flied out.
I think there are some better first basemen now than we've had for a number of years. Keith Hernandez with the Cardinals, to me, is the class of both leagues right now. But there are some better fielding first basemen.
Rich, a tough in-between hop, 2 away. And as Sparky has been telling you young players watching, and I hope you're not skipping school, but if you are studying this game, the infielders, you can always come up on a ball, but it's tough to go down. Those are the ones that embarrass you. You saw Gritch again, getting his backside down low so that he could always come up with the hands.
The best way Dick I can explain it, pretend like you're a gardener. Get down in the dirt, and that's where the game's played.
Doug DeCinces looped a single to right, knocked in a run, walked and scored, and grounded out. 1 for 2. Rick Miller, who has a Golden Glove last year, takes care of that one, and Claire works another easy inning. He settled down, pitched 4 strong innings. 2 up for the Angels in the top of the 8th. Jim Anderson or a pinch hitter. Then the top of the order, Rod Carew and Carney Lansford. Memorial Stadium today, Anaheim Stadium tomorrow night. The differences in the infields. What can we expect? Well, we went to the great Gold Glove expert, Brooks Robinson.
Stadium probably is the best infield in the major leagues, or in the American League anyway. I think in California you have an infield that's a lot faster. The ball gets through a lot faster, and you can play a couple steps deeper.
Yeah, we'll watch Doug DeCinces and Carney Lansford at the Big A tomorrow night. Brooks Robinson, now a member of the broadcast team of the Orioles and involved with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Very actively involved. Merv Rettenman pinch hitting for Jim Anderson. Sails one just out of the reach of Eddie Murray. I think Murray gave up a little on that one, and the natural curve of the ball as it was hit was bringing it back into the warning pad.
We'll have a look here. If you can, if you have the time, and in this case he probably didn't, but you want to get as close to those stands as you can. And you see the ball did land in playing territory, Dick, so he did have a shot at it. If he could have hustled down there a little quicker. That's a tough play, though, back over his head.
Redmond's glad he didn't. 1-1. Redmond, of course, grew up in the Oriole organization. Had some big years when first recalled. Former outstanding football player at Ball State University. Redmond, checking his Oriole record, hit .318 in '71. .322 the year before. 2 pennant years for the Orioles. In there, 2-2. 3-2. Ball 4, and that is the first walk allowed by Mike Flanagan. And he doesn't even want to look in the dugout. Earl Weaver, up he comes to the top step of the dugout. He walked the leadoff man with a 9-3 lead, and here comes number 4. Rettenman leaves the game. Dick Thon, young infielder, will run for Rettenman. Thon might stay in the game at shortstop.
He's probably saying something like, what's going on out here? Are you getting tired? Because if you are, I've got 3 or 4 guys down there in the bullpen who can come in here and shut this club out.
Mike Barlow, meanwhile, in the Angel bullpen getting loose. Mark Clear, since having problems early, has thrown 4 consecutive hitless innings. There's Don Stanhouse, last night's winner, roommate of John Lowenstein. The all-hair team. I think he'd be on that one, wouldn't he?
That surprises me to see him warming up, doesn't it, you, Sparky?
I'm a little surprised, Wes, to see him warming up here in the 8th inning because Sammy Stewart's done such a good job for him and Stoddard. But again, Earl knows that he's got to drive that nail in the coffin, and he's not going to take any chances at all.
Rod Carew, as Flanagan stays in to pitch to the left-handed batter. In there. Carew, 3 for 4 last night, and a double in 3 trips today. There's Thon, the pinch runner at first. Could be 2. Oops! And everyone is safe. Dower backed it up. Murray commits the first Oriole error of the series.
You could see it coming. He got caught on an in-between hop. He thought the ball was coming up, and it stayed down on him. Now watch, he just gets caught in no man's land. That ball bounces in a spot where you don't want it. You either want to be closer or further away from that hop. And he just thought that ball was coming up on him and went right under his glove.
But the hustle of Dower right there.
Dower was right there, but again, that's what we're talking about for you kids out there. You've got to stay down, and Eddie didn't stay down. He came up at the last minute.
Dower backed him up 2 on, no one out, and Carney Lansford in a 9-3 Oriole lead. 8th inning, no one out. And the big guns coming up for the Angels, Lansford, Ford, and Baylor. Base hit, left center. Thon scores. Carew motors to third. It's 9-4, and that may be all for Flanagan. 2 times at bat, driving in runs with each. And here comes the Bulldog.
This is just what the Angels need, Dick. Even if they don't come back and win this ball game, and we don't know yet about that, but even if they don't, they are going to start to establish some momentum and confidence in themselves for when they go back to Anaheim tomorrow.
Here's a team, the Angels. They averaged almost 5.5 runs every game they played this year. And even against the sterling performer, Mike Flanagan, they've got 4. And there's no one out, 2 on here in the 8th inning as Weaver goes to the bullpen. We'll be back at Memorial Stadium right after we pause for this word. Preceding announcement furnished by Major League Baseball, and how appropriate. Carl Yastrzemski with that honor. 400 home runs, 3,000 base hits. Carl Yastrzemski, part of the great story of this 1979 season. The Orioles' lead has been cut to 9-4, 2 on and no one out as Don Stanhouse relieves Mike Flanagan, who gave up a home run to Ford in the first inning and then retired 15 in a row. Lost a little of his stuff in the late innings, and here comes Stanhouse, who was the winner last night in extra innings. And this has been typical of the Angel season. They've not had great pitching, but they're never out of it. They have come from behind to win more than 30 times this year.
They can score, and you remember that Yankees series about the middle of the season, Dick, when they came from behind in those last 2 games with 9th inning home runs, a couple of men out to win ball games. They can do it. I just think it's very interesting right here, and shows a real insight into Weaver's character, that he would bring in Stanhouse in this situation with a 5-run lead. But as Sparky says, he doesn't want to take any chances. He's got Sammy Stewart, Tim Stoddard, and Tippy Martinez in the bullpen, all of whom are excellent. And yet he brought in Stanhouse to nail this down.
8th inning, Baltimore, run home for the Angels. At third is Carew. At first base, Lansford. Dan Ford with 2 home runs in this series. At the plate for California, no one out. Stanhouse, first pitch. And he comes in with a wicked slider.
He is so deliberate, Dick. You notice how much time he takes in between pitches. He really gets his concentration and knows exactly what he wants to do before he delivers that ball.
And he also gives Earl a chance to fire up, because, you know, old fullback out there gives Earl a chance between each pitch.
If you weren't with us last night, Weaver's nickname for Stanhouse is full pack, because every time he comes in to pitch an inning, Weaver goes through a full pack. 3-1.
Boy, if we could see Weaver, I'll bet right now he's starting to agonize a little bit. He did not bring this man in to walk anybody.
I wonder if he's hiding. Stanhouse usually sends Weaver up the runway toward the clubhouse in a nervous pace. There he's ready to go. He's the expectant father. That's the pose.
He doesn't even want to look. Look at that.
Just barely peeking around the corner.
Tell him, Frank, let me know. Let me look at him. Look at him.
There he's starting to go.
Let me know, Frank.
Stay with him in the corner. Can we watch him while this pitch is made? 3-1. We'll do it after the next pitch. He's barking out at Stanhouse. Line out in time for the double play. So the Angels hit in tough luck there as Ford hits one right at Dower.
Oh, Dick, you can't imagine what tough luck that is. A base hit right there could really break things open for him. Looks like Weaver's out of sight. I don't know if he saw that ball caught or not, but maybe at the crack of the bat he just ducked in there.
Let's see what Earl's reaction was to that line drive. Can't stand it, he says. I got to go down here and think this over.
He leaves poor Frank there to take the misery.
Robinson doing the play-by-play down in the dugout.
I wonder how good he is at it, Dick.
Probably like everything else, doggone good. Here's Baylor. Single and 3 trips. Line to left. Base hit. Lansford gambling a bit, goes to third, but has great speed and makes it. Lowenstein might have had a play in that one if he had charged it, elected to play it safely, and almost had to back up to get it on one hop.
Well, that's good running twice, good base running twice by Carney Lansford. He sees the outfielder Lowenstein back up and is able to get over to third, and he also did a good job when he was on first base, not getting doubled off on the line drive to second.
Here comes Lansford. Watch. As soon as he sees the ball and sees how deep and he's going away, he sees him going away from the play, he knows with his speed he can go into third.
Sure, he's moving away from his throw. That's almost impossible.
Now the Angels, playing first and third, have 2 runs home here in the 8th to cut the lead to 9-5. Boy, you take that line drive of Ford's and hike it up another foot, and the Angels would have some rally going here. Downing, 1 for 3. Baylor has his first RBI of the series. 1 out. High slider. Downing might be thinking, I'd like to have that one back.
They're taking advantage of a mistake, too, Dick. Don't forget Eddie Murray booted that ground ball by Rod Carew. Up until now, it's been Baltimore taking advantage of Angel mistakes. Now it's turning around a little bit.
If Downing gets on, the tying run comes to the plate for Jim Fregosi.
That's what you want. Then you've got a chance, a real good chance.
Hit deep to left, but not deep enough. Lansford tags. It's 9-6 as he scores on Downing's sacrifice fly. First run driven in by Downing in this championship series. Baylor at first, 2 out. And Gritch the hitter, 9-6 to score.
I noticed Stanhouse is a little mad at himself. He's made some mistakes this inning with his pitches and got the ball up, and he's mad. He wanted Dower to give him that ball. Give me the ball, he's yelling to Dower.
Well, you're right, Spark. He just got away with one. You know, Downing gets around a little bit quicker, gets that bat out in front. That ball's hit out of here.
Really, Wes, he's supposed to hit that ball out because it's right up there for him. He just waited a little long, and the ball might have moved in on him a little.
This could have been a big home run for Brian Downing. That ball kind of hung up there for him. He did not miss that by much. You're right. That pitch was just hanging there.
Himself.
Gritch up, 9-6 Baltimore in the 8th inning. 2 out, Baylor at first base. Gritch a sacrifice fly, 0 for 2 today. At Dower, oh, he made sure he was in front of that one. He had his whole body wrapped around that ground ball. The inning comes to an end. The Angels score 3 times to cut the lead to 9-6. It'll be Dower, Dempsey, and Bunbury for the Orioles in the 8th. There he is. Wild Bill Hagee. It's amazing the little things that captivate a crowd. He initiated the whole idea of a spell out by using body language. O-R-I-O. Well, that's the end. That's the tail end of it on the replay. Wild Bill Hagee, and he's got the crowd back with him. I love his ES. The ES is outstanding. We're going to get him to do NBC for us.
You know, Dick, we were here for the last series at home, and in the 7th inning on, he finally got Earl Weaver to do it. The people went completely out of their minds.
Weaver actually came out and did it.
Right at the top of the dugout, he did it and did it perfect. And I'll tell you what, my guy said, hey, Skip, is that right? I said, here, that's the winners tell jokes and the losers cry and say, please deal. I said, that's what it's all about, winning.
Bottom of the 8th inning in Baltimore, the Orioles' 9-1 lead melted down to 9-6. And Don Ossie, number 46, is the new Angel pitcher. Ossie, a starter most of the year, and with all the Angel injuries to the starting staff, he wore out. He was pitching every 4 days and got into August, and he really ran out of gas. So Fregosi Fregosi put him in the bullpen, and he came up with a couple of very important saves. That is Dickie Thon at short. Don Ossie on the mound. 2-1 the count to Dower, who is 1 for 6 in the series. Carew with a chance. 1 away. There's a very interesting little tidbit involving the battery now for the Angels, and Ossie the pitcher and Downing the catcher. And who really knew about Anaheim 25 years ago? I guess Jack Benny and his Azusa Cucamonga Anaheim railroad call. But here are two kids playing in Anaheim who grew up in Anaheim. Ossie went to Savannah High School, and Downing went to Magnolia High School, and they now form the battery here in the championship series. Great bunt.
Never get him. No chance.
Rick Dempsey, a perfect bunt.
That's the kind of ball player Dempsey has been all year long. He's a scrapper. He'll try to do anything he can to beat a ball club. And he just catches Carney so far back. It doesn't matter that he doesn't catch this ball. He could have never thrown him out.
You know, here's a case where Baltimore, the lead was cut to 9-6, and I just think Carney, after the first man was out, Dick, he never even dreamed that Dempsey would bunt. But Baltimore's trying to get back and pick that 3 runs up that they just lost.
1 out. Dempsey at first base. Al Bumbry the batter. Regardless of the outcome today, gentlemen, there's one very obvious note, and that is that the Angels' young manager Jim Fregosi has a club that can't get behind by too much. They came within 1 batter of having the tying run at the plate. He's mad.
He didn't like the call on the pitch before. It looked like a strike. Apparently the umpire thought it was too low, but it looked pretty good. But I'm not surprised. Dick, the Angels have a good ball club. They've suffered some tough injuries this year. They've kept bouncing back all season long. They're minus Rudy and Akins right now, but they're still bouncing back.
Bumbry bunt. Tough play, no play. Another bunt single. Dempsey and Bumbry back to back.
Well, I'll tell you, Dick, you've got to give Fregosi credit. Him and his staff this year have just done a tremendous job with that ball club. And Jimmy's showing them right now that we're not going to quit it at no cost. And he's letting everybody know out there. And he's doing that for effect also for tomorrow, just in case for some reason they couldn't come back and win this ball game.
I think what they're showing, Sparky, is just that they can play any kind of game you want to play. You want to play long ball, Baltimore will do that. You want to play the bunt, the finesse game, they can do that. You want to go pitch a little bit, they can do that. And they can play the defense.
Kiko Garcia, 2 key singles today. Both drove in runs. They'll stand up and cheer the big home run hitters, the Dave Kingmans, the Gorman Thomases. But I still think to a man and woman, boy or girl, a fan will stand up and cheer the well-placed bunt almost as heartily. It's such a rarity to see it done well. Another bunt try, foul at the plate. 0-2 the count.
And the guy at first base, Rod Carew, if ever there was anybody that could bunt, that man can take a ball and drop it almost anywhere.
Yes, Major League managers voting on the best bunter in baseball. It was almost unanimous. Carew. He could bunt 300, they say.
He can do anything with that bat, Dick. It's amazing how he can take a ball. If it's a fast turf, he'll really deaden. If it's a slow turf, you'll watch him. He'll get the top hand and bunt it harder.
2 strikes on Garcia. Ossie with runners at first and second. Just missed. Tough to take that pitch, and that's what Fregosi is saying. How can you take that pitch with 2 strikes on you?
Well, a lot of times hitters aren't smart enough to take a pitch like that. They just get fooled. And if you do, you have to take the pitch and hope that the umpire calls it a ball.
There it is. Same pitch, strike 3.
Same pitch, about another 2 inches more towards that outside corner.
Jimmy's clapping for the umpire there. He's saying, thank you.
That's a sarcastic applause.
Yes, very sarcastic.
2 out, 2 on, and here's Ken Singleton. He's 1 for 4. Weaver may be thinking ahead to the top of the 9th. The Angels will have the lower portion of the batting order. Clark, Miller, and Thon scheduled.
Whatever, Dick, this is a big out right here for the Angels. They've got to get this guy.
Foul ball.
Now, he's throwing pretty hard. Kenny was way behind that pitch. It's a good fastball.
On the corner, 0-2. Singleton, great eye. Fregosi would love to be able to say, oh, I've got Akins and Rudy down here with me ready to play, but they're ineligible. So going into the bottom third of his order, he's a little strapped for bench. In fact, he's playing with 24.
I tell you, Dick, all year, though, I remember early in the season when I was out at Anaheim, really from about the first month of the season on, Jimmy's had to do things. I told him one day out there, I said, Jimmy, I don't know how your stomach's feeling, but I'll tell you, it's tough what you have to do every day out here with all these injuries.
2 strikes on Singleton. Boy, those eyes of Fregosi, you can see how tough he might look when he wants to discipline a player. Almost got Singleton on that slider in at the knees. 1-2.
That's such a good waste pitch because that ball starts in there like it might be a fastball and then dips down. Singleton, you have to give him credit for laying off that pitch. That was just an excellent waste pitch.
Got him. And Singleton, in disbelief, argues with Ford. Well, San Diego had its chicken, but obviously the Orioles have their Wild Bill. We'll be back in the 9th inning, but to take us toward the 9th, here's the Wild Man in action again. On NBC. Top of the 9th inning, Memorial Stadium, Baltimore. The Orioles with a 3-run lead, 9-6, as this October day draws to a close. That orange sunset, rather symbolic here in Baltimore. The orange of the Orioles, dominant. Great crowd support. Excellent play by Baltimore, winning last night in extra innings and leading 9-6 going into the 9th today.
Dick, I'm almost certain we're going to have a pinch hitter here, probably Harlow.
It is Larry Harlow.
Larry Harlow for Bobby Clark. Clark had a rough time, but he's only had 50 at-bats in the major leagues, and suddenly you throw him into a pressure situation like this. Harlow at least has been through some of this.
Harlow started last night, as you see, unable to get a base hit. Harlow, Miller, and then Thon is scheduled for the Angels.
Harlow had trouble last night because he's really a low ball hitter and he was being pitched up high. Well, against Stanhouse, he'll probably see sinker balls, so he's got a much better chance right now.
Sparky, I would think that Earl Weaver's thoughts now are, hey, I don't want to see Lansford get up again. He's 5 hitters away.
That's what he's doing. Wherever the tying run lies, that's what he doesn't want to see. He's playing outs now, and he's going to count them down. He's got 3 to go.
Ball 2. Harlow from Aztec, New Mexico. And Weaver from St. Louis, and he heads in that direction periodically.
He's going to get very upset if he has a base on balls here.
Ball 3. Willie Davis with a batting helmet on, so apparently Fregosi thinking about using him to bat for Thon. Ball 4 on 4 pitches. The leadoff man is on. And Weaver just marching to the mound. That's the walk that usually means he's going to take company back with him. That's the unpardonable sin, walking the leadoff man. That's what started the 3-run 8th inning when starter Flanagan walked Anderson.
Oh, he's really mad. You can see it. I mean, that just isn't done, Dick. You just don't walk a guy in the 9th inning with a 3-run lead.
On 4 pitches, Harlow is at first. That's Stoddard, the right-hander, Martinez, the left-hander, and of course Weaver now, knowing that Fregosi doesn't have a lot of hitters on that bench, try to counter would figure Martinez to pitch to Miller.
Well, Dick, you know what Earl's telling him out there right now. He said, well, Fregosi talked to you early, came out early in the ballgame and talked to you now, and now look it, you're squeezing us. Now let's loosen it up back there.
Aren't you surprised that he didn't bring in Martinez to pitch to Miller?
Well, he knows this. The Steinhaus can make him hit the ball on the ground because the one thing he does, as Wes said, he throws that sinker ball. He makes you hit the ball on the ground. He's going to go one more hitter, and then that's it.
Weaver right down the steps and into hiding.
Right into the into the cave. And he will yell and scream back there. He'll hear what's going on, and he will just yell out that frustration. He is such a competitor.
Of course, that's all concrete, a very closed pathway that goes into the clubhouse, so the noise just reverberates out of there.
The bench gets a good shot of it.
Ball 1. 5 in a row missed by Stanhouse, and now the crowd's getting a little nervous.
One more ball here, and I'll make you bet the party's over. Although he can't here now. He cannot remove Stanhouse again. He can't come out until this hitter's done.
Checking the lineup card. Let's watch Weaver's reaction as Stanhouse tries to throw him a strike. Little deep sigh. 1-1. Couple of statues in that dugout for the Orioles. Frank Robinson and Earl Weaver.
You know, Dick, Earl knows one thing. If this ball club, California club, would come back and win this game, he's got some problems going home to Anaheim and all those Angel fans.
Oh, he knows that well. Well, here's the double play ball. Not in time at first base. Good hustle by Miller to beat the relay.
Good call. Weaver doesn't like it, but he's singing emotionally. I thought he was safe. He had it beat.
In fact, that was almost a phantom play at second base. Garcia barely got the bag. Let's watch it.
We'll see it again now. This started out like a perfect double play ball. Garcia does it well, but Miller runs awful quick. We couldn't see his foot hit the bag. I thought he was safe.
There's again, and why Sparky just says time and time again, hit the ball the other way, hit the ball to the right side. It's a tougher double play. That same ball to shortstop, easy double play.
See, and another thing, though, Dower was so good about he made sure 2 hands caught the ball. You watch Dower. He catches the ball, and then he gives it to him so good.
And a nice kick
Lets
of the
him
bag.
take the ball out of his glove. Look at that. Made sure he hid the glove, got the glove kicked away, and gave him just a hand.
Garcia hitting that bag as he made his slide across, and not quite in time.
They really went for the one, like you were saying, Sparky. Get one sure. That's exactly what they did.
Willie Davis pinch hitting for Thon. Ball 1. Davis, used rarely throughout the year, employed as a pinch hitter last night, grounded out. Now 39 years of age after a couple of years in Japan. Joining the Angels this spring. He can still motor. As this for Weaver as he studies it. If 2 Angels get on, then that tying run comes to the plate. Don Stanhouse, last night's winner. 1 ball, 1 strike the count, 1 out, 1 on. 9-6 Baltimore. 9th inning. 2-1. You almost have to agonize with Weaver. How would you like to take one of those stethoscopes and put it on Weaver's chest just to see what's happening inside him? I bet he just knock your eardrums loose.
So yeah, I'd love to play for a guy like that, though, Dick. As a player, I can see why they love him, because he really cares. He really wants to win.
Ball 3, 3-1. That didn't miss by much, but too low. And now Weaver's going to take some of that frustration out on Ford, the umpire. Yeah, that's got to help your health if nothing else, Earl. Get it out. Get it out.
Yeah, I've heard this said about Stanhouse, that he's always trying to make that perfect pitch, and I think it's true, and that's why he's always going 3-1 and 3-2 on the hitters. He's just trying to be a little bit too fine.
Just in case Ford didn't hear, Weaver giving him a little extra. 3 balls, 1 strike to Davis. In there, 3-2. Davis trying to coax ball 4, but that was a good strike.
Dick, you have to admit one thing, and every time Hank Peters, the general manager, signs Earl's paycheck, that he knows Earl earns his money, because Earl's giving you every bit of it.
He just blew a gasket on that last one. I bet he can't even whisper now.
Ford's taking a couple of little looks over there now. I think Weaver finally got through to him. But I haven't seen Weaver miss a pitch yet. I think he's, or not Weaver, but Ford. I don't think he's missed one yet.
3-2, 1 out. Big pitch. Loop to left.
That's trouble.
Base hit. And into second base goes Davis. On to third, Miller. And the tying run comes to the plate as veteran Willie Davis doubles to left. Well, you've got to admire what has happened in that dugout. They didn't quit at 9-1, and whether they win or not, at least they'll go home with their heads up. Rod Carew, the batter.
Jimmy was just yelling to Darren Johnson, tell Willie Davis to make sure a line drive. He's not doubled up on a line drive. Your run don't mean a darn thing to us.
That's right. Those 2 runs don't mean anything. The only one the Orioles are concentrating on and the Angels must focus upon is a man at the plate, the tying run, Carew. Aaron Johnson, of course, the first base coach, and he has shouted that instruction to Davis. You saw Bobby Knopf, the third base coach, undoubtedly say the same thing to Miller.
And you look at Baltimore now, they're guarding the lines, Dick, against that extra base hit. They don't want Carew, the tying run, to get an extra base hit.
Carew is 1 for 4 today, 4 hits in the series. Ball 1. And I'm a little surprised we're not seeing Martinez, a left-hander, in the pitch to Carew.
In turn here, if there's a base hit to the outfield, they won't even attempt to throw home. They'll throw the ball right to second base because the tying run is Carew, and that's the only thing right now they're worried about.
1 out. 9-6, Baltimore. They led 9-1 back in the third. If Carew were 100%, he is not. Although he has not a lot of home runs in his career, Sparky, you know that when he wants to go for it, he can hit it a long way.
And not only that, he knows game situations. Right now, they've got everything moving pretty good. He's going to try to get a base hit and leave it up to those big 3 guys coming up behind him with the power.
Lansford, Ford, and Baylor behind Carew. There's 1 out, and it's 9-7 as Miller scores. The second out of the inning.
That wasn't just 1 out. That was 1 very, very big out.
Here comes Carney Lansford. Who would have thought back in the third inning when the Orioles were rolling 9-1 that before the game was over with 2 out in the 9th, the tying run would be at the plate, and Carney Lansford.
Earl, Frank Robinson's telling him right now here, get off the lines a little. You move Murray off the line a little at first. You move the sensors over just a little. They don't care now. They want the final out, and they want to make sure a base hit don't go through.
Lansford hit 19 home runs this year. Ball 1. Davis at third. His run can't tie it.
But he didn't move him far enough off the line, Dick. He just moved him enough so that they would be able to get the ball down the line. But he's going to gamble just a hair. He moved him just a hair off.
1-0. 9-6 the score. Baltimore, 2 out, 9th inning.
Oh,
he had a good cut.
That ball was up. He had a chance to ride that out.
We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is WBAL-TV, Baltimore 11.
The intense drama of these playoffs continues in Baltimore, although we didn't think so early. From 9-1, it's 9-7. 1 ball, 1 strike. Top of the 9th inning. Earl Weaver hiding for cover. Can't stand to watch. Frank Robinson at the head of the Orioles ship. Man at third. 2 out. 1 ball, 1 strike on Carney Lansford. Oh, almost threw in a run. It's 2-1. On deck, a man who has hit 2 home runs in this series, Dan Ford.
Wouldn't have mattered, Dick. The wild pitch, if a run scores, that's only 9-8. You've got to get that hitter out.
Darren Stanhouse. Carney Lansford, the principals, in the 9th. Davis at third would be the 8th run.
Third inning, you said who expected this? You said it in the 3rd inning. You said, you know, they're not out of it yet the way they can score runs. You got a crystal ball.
Loop behind second. Here comes Singleton. Tough play. Base hit. 9-8 as Lansford singles to right, and the tying run is on. The go-ahead run. Ford comes to the plate. Oh my.
Singleton did not make a bad play on that ball, keeping it from getting by him. He almost overran it into a double. Let's have another look here. Watch Kenny. This ball will bounce up. He thought he might have had a play. Now he's just got to block that ball after he misses it. It really hits him in the leg, but he kept the ball in front of him. And Dower might have saved it from being a double, too.
Lansford, who may be the Angels' best runner from first to home in terms of speed, carries the tying run. 2 outs in the 9th inning. It's 9-8. Dan Ford, the batter. Ball 1.
I think it's been 2 packs, Dick.
2 packs is right, as Weaver surprisingly letting Stanhouse struggle through this 9th inning. I can't believe he's staying with it.
I am amazed. He's got such a superb bullpen down there. He could bring in almost anybody else, but he's staying with Stanhouse.
For Stanhouse, the one thing going for him, doesn't throw the home run ball. Base hit. Oh, a gamble by Lansford. He makes it, and Ford goes into second. So Lansford on the gamble, that forced the throw. The tying run at third. The go-ahead run at second for Dan Ford.
What a series Danny Ford is having. They had him shifted over to hit up the middle, and he pulls the ball right through that hole into left field. And Carney Lansford, who has shown some outstanding base running this entire series, he goes to third base and draws the throw so that Ford can go down to second.
Could you ask for more? Runners at second and third, as you see Lansford outrun the throw from Lowenstein. Don Baylor, the top Angel hitter, but he won't swing the bat. They're going to walk Baylor to load the bases. Brian Downing then will be the man who can possibly win it, or the Orioles win it, and Downing only happens to be the man with the best batting average of any right-hander in the American League this year. What a finish.
We've talked about this situation too, where you walk a man to load up the bases, and Stanhouse has been behind on so many hitters, you almost wonder if he might walk in that tying run.
This is the thing right here, Wes and Dick, that scared me, because Stanhouse does and is known for walking a man, and now you're putting him in a situation with 2 out and the bases loaded. He has to throw a strike. Downing knows this.
This Memorial Stadium crowd, as you look left, right, center field, bleachers, the boxes, half of them are standing. almost in disbelief that what has happened from 9-1 to 9-8. And the Angels have a halo over every base with 2 outs in the 9th, and Brian Downing, the hitter. He is 1 for 3 with a sacrifice fly.
I don't think Wild Bill would be too funny right now.
Well, Don Stanhouse needs just 1 out for the Orioles to win it, and Downing trying to keep it alive. Listen how quiet it has become. Ball 1. Fans trying to help plate umpire Ford. Downing has hit in the clutch all year for the season. Downing, 326. Bases loaded, 2 out. The play, the ball game is over. The Orioles win 9-8. DeCintre, a heady play, knew the man was coming from second, and he just blocked Ford away. Ford, of course, doing all he could, trying to knock the ball free, but the game ends. A tremendous comeback, but it ends as it did last night for the Angels. They take the loser's walk back into the clubhouse. The Orioles jump in front 2 games to none in the American League Championship Series. We'll be back with the totals in just a moment. A partisan crowd of 52,108 at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore enjoyed 2 different games. Early, it was all Orioles as they cheered a 9-1 lead. And then it was a matter of starting to swallow harder and harder. Earl Weaver symbolized it. He couldn't even look as the Angels scored 1 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, 3 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th, and the game ended with the bases loaded as Baltimore wins it 9-8. Dick Enberg for West Park. Wes Parker and Sparky Anderson, great job, men. One thing, we can all look forward to tomorrow night in Anaheim. Oh, these 2 teams are well matched. Game 2 of the American League Championship Series brought to you by Chrysler Corporation. See the mileage makers at your Dodge or Chrysler Plymouth dealers. By Pepsi-Cola and your local Pepsi-Cola bottlers. Have a Pepsi Day. By Atra, for closeness with comfort, it's Gillette's best shave. And by Light Beer, everything you always wanted in a beer, and less. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Don Ohlmeyer. The coordinating producer of baseball's League Championship Series has been Michael Weissman. Today's game produced by Michael Weissman. Directed by Harry Coyle. Technical Director Bruce Berquist. Associate Producer Bill Peters. Associate Director Richard Klein. Tomorrow, Game 3, the National League Championship from Pittsburgh. As Cincinnati, down 2 games to none, will meet the Pirates. That'll be at 3 Eastern Time. Then Game 3 of the American League Series tomorrow night from Anaheim Stadium. That at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock on the West Coast. All right here on NBC, the network of the 1980 Olympics.